Hi, hello, and welcome back to Paisa, Vasool. As always, I'm your host, Shravan. We've got Taran here with us.
Hello.
And as we said in our previous episode, we're back with another review of one of the Diwali releases. It is Lucky Baskhar in Telugu. We watched it pretty recently. We'll get into our thoughts on it, but a bit of background about the film. So it's directed by Venky Atluri, who previously, he's made a bunch of films. Admittedly, I don't think I've seen any of them.
Just name them. I think I've seen some.
I guess his most popular one was Toli Prema starring Varun.
Haven't seen that. He did Rung there, yeah?
He did Rang De.
I've seen that, yeah.
He did Mr. Majnu.
I've seen that, yeah.
And he did Sir with Dhanush.
Yeah, that's a very mixed filmography, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
He actually started his career as an actor. So I think he wanted to get into the industry as an actor. He was in a film back in the Happy Days era when they were doing those like youthful college stories. He was in one of those.
Life is Beautiful.
I don't think he was.
There's so many people in Life is Beautiful.
I think he wasn't in that though.
Yeah. Do you know who's in Life is Beautiful? What's that guy who directed Kalki?
Nagashwin.
He's in Life is Beautiful.
Yeah, so he was an assistant director to Shekhar Kamala as well.
Yeah.
So that hence he was also cast in that.
With our producer's still here.
Yes, our producer's joined us again. Yeah. Starring Dulquer Salmaan. Apparently this is his trilogy of hits in Telugu.
Third Telugu one, yeah.
So Mahanati followed by Sitaramam, then
also, we did mention it, but Sitaramam is similar to the other movie that we talked about.
Amaran?
Yeah.
Yes. It is, but that's much more of a love story than I think Amaran's much. It's got equal sort of army elements to it. Meenakshi Chaudhary finally gets a role that has some substance in this movie.
Yeah, more than 5 minutes of screen time and a bit more to do.
And there's a bunch of other actors in the film as well, which we can get into. Once again, similar to Amaran, music is from G.V. Prakash again in this one. So looks like he's lined up a bunch of films that are coming out around the same time. And budget is 100 crore. I didn't mention, we don't usually talk about budget, but 100 crore is a big budget for a movie like this. But it is a period piece, so it's set in the 90s, and they do a good job of making it feel like it is the 90s.
So Dulquer hasn't done a Telugu movie that isn't a period piece?
That's true. Yeah, because Mahanati was in like the 50s, 60s. And then Sitaramam's also, like...
sometime. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
So this is in the 90s. What do you think of the movie?
I really like this. I was surprised at how much I was surprised at how much I liked it. I haven't actually seen a Dulquer movie that is not good yet. I know he probably has done bad movies, but all of his movies that I've seen up till now are all very good. You're getting attacked by your dog. I was surprised at how good it was. It well acted, the pacing is really good. The pacing's like really quick, even though it's quite a long movie. And it's got some nice twists and things in it as well. The reason I was surprised is because the director hasn't really done anything this good before. So it definitely his best work.
Yeah, it's almost like came out of the blue. Like I wasn't expecting this to be that good just based off the director's previous films. But it's very different to his previous films as well. It's much more based on the story of the main lead. There's no, he has a wife, but there's no like romantic elements as such in the film. It's not really centered around that. It's much more around the scam that happens in the film. So we haven't really talked much about the story.
It's nice that the two movies that we've reviewed as of yet, they've both got actors that are playing probably their age and also have families and kids in both movies.
It's refreshing to see that because Dulquer is like 40 in real life. Looks very good for a 40-year-old. But he's playing a character that's similar to the age that he currently is. But I thought that the positive of the movie was it always keeps you engaged. Like there's always something happening. It's very pacey, and the subject matter that they've taken probably doesn't lend itself directly to that. Like it's not an action movie. It's very much it's a movie based on I guess like the financial system and a scam that happened in the 90s, and a bank manager that sort of gets entangled in that, or a sincere bank worker that ends up becoming a bank manager, and then ends up getting entangled in some of this big scam that's happening at the time with the stock market. So I've just said a lot of stuff that's related to the financial markets and finances and stuff like that, which might sort of turn you off, but I think they make it accessible to
They do
everyone.
simplify it. Yeah. It's I would say it's almost like a dumbed down. It's definitely not as good as this movie. It's kind of like a Wolf of Wall Street-esque movie.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's definitely not as good as Wolf of Wall Street, but that's what I would equate it to if I was to kind of compare it to something else. And the main character kind of goes through a full circle arc in the movie, which is interesting to see, and where it kind of ends up.
Yeah. I found that interesting because he starts off as a genuinely good person, a sincere worker, and then circumstances lead him to change, but then he does have a sort of full circle towards the end of the film.
And I think we review a lot of kind of mass movies where they use fights to kind of elevate a character, or like the BGM or stuff like that, with especially with like the big heroes. This movie does have kind of elevation scenes, but it does it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Where you get the same kind of feeling, but there's no fight, there's no kind of, there is BGM, but it doesn't kind of give the same effect, but you still feel that elevation of what you would expect from a mass movie, pretty much.
Definitely. And the twists, certainly towards the end, are pretty well executed. It's not something, as in, a good twist is when they reveal it and you don't expect it, but it also feels right. Like it links into all the other plot points. So
it makes sense. You don't get to the twist at the end. You're like, where did this come from? It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense given what's happened, but I didn't expect it. And Dulquer is really great. He's so good. He does kind of like a monologue facing cameras at some point.
There's like a fourth wall breaking element to the film where he talks to the camera, like
Wolf of Wall Street,
or like Deadpool, or like that kind of thing where he talks to the directly to the audience, and that was really well done as well. And I actually didn't mention this with Amaran, but it's applicable to this and Amaran, is that whenever we go watch an Indian film in the cinemas, we always notice that the sound is very high.
Too loud.
We've mentioned this quite a few times. I actually didn't notice it for both of these movies. And it could be because of GV Prakash. Maybe he knows how to actually mix the audio in a meaningful way that it doesn't overpower
or maybe
too
it's
much.
just those like big massy
it could be.
or like Vijay movies, like those kind of ones that make
those
them
kind of
really loud.
Those kind of films. But yeah, this it was refreshing to have a background score that wasn't so loud that your eardrums are about to burst. And yeah, Meenakshi Chaudhary was
finally gets a role. She finally gets something to do, and she's good.
And there's a lot of supporting characters that all do a pretty good job.
I thought I forget this guy's name. Is it
Sai Kumar?
Sai Kumar. Sai Kumar was really good. As
Father
like
of Adi Sai Kumar.
Yeah, that guy. He's the CBI agent. I thought he was entertaining.
There's a lot of like characters.
There's a lot of side characters.
Yeah, and like the periphery that they have. They play a role in the plot. Yeah, but they're
the guy who I found funny for no reason, because he's not a funny character, but just his face and the way he acted. He wasn't a great actor. Was that guy called Anthony?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that
Anthony.
guy? Yeah. He wasn't good at acting, and his face was just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one negative I will have about this film, and it's a thing that Indian films don't do well most of the time, and it's child actors. So he has a son in this film.
Yeah.
And the son actually plays a pretty... He influences his decisions quite a lot in a couple of points. So, and at those points, the son's acting, unfortunately, was not good. It was quite bad. And there was... a lot of Indian films do this as well, where they film the scene, but they don't record the dialogue.
Yeah.
And it could be for many reasons. Maybe the actor isn't fluent in the language, so someone else dubs for them. But for this kid, it was very obvious dubbing because the lip sync was just completely off. And on the subject of dubbing, I'm pretty sure Dulquer dubbed for himself in this.
I think
well.
he does. You can tell because he's got like an interesting accent, which is good. Yeah.
Apparently, he did watch a lot of films. Mammootty's father, who's a legend from the Malayalam film industry, apparently he watches a lot of Telugu films. So Dulquer grew up watching a lot of Telugu films, and Malayalam in general. I think Malayalam is one of the most complex languages. So I feel like Malayali actors or Malayali people will be able to learn other languages easier. Yeah. So he makes it sound pretty natural in terms of his accent and stuff.
Yeah, he did a very good job. And he's clearly a smart guy because he picks movie scripts well, and he generally does good movies. Like I said, I haven't seen a bad one. Have
you seen his non-Telugu films?
So I saw a Malayali movie from him. It was also a period piece. He likes doing period pieces. He was a con man. It was on
King
Netflix.
Of Klota?
No, not that one.
Because apparently that one's not good.
Yeah. It was a Netflix movie. Maybe our producer can help out with this one. He
Have you seen It Was Spider Hotel? That's a good movie.
No.
Bangalore Days. Good movie.
Yes, he is in that. Yeah.
Yes. And he's done some Hindi.
He has done Hindi movies. I can't remember this movie. It's a Malayali movie.
It's a good movie. I think it's common. Tamil movie.
Yeah.
Fun.
He did that. It's not that great of a film, but he did a movie with Sonam Kapoor.
Yeah, Zoya Factor. Apparently that's not great. Yeah. That's the one where he's a cricket player.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. I think he's generally pretty good with his script selection, and he does different stuff. He's not a mainstream kind of actor. He does stuff that's interesting and it's gonna you go into a movie and you're probably not gonna get something you've seen before.
Venky Atluri, the director, actually did mention in one of his interviews that he did approach other Telugu actors with this script, and apparently they rejected it. Whatever reason they weren't comfortable with some aspects of the film, like maybe because there was no action, or
negative shades to the character.
There's negative shades, or there's he has a wife and a son, which some actors don't like doing characters like that. Hence, he ended up going to Dulquer for it.
It's interesting because you see like the main Telugu actors and some of the main Tamil actors as well. They kind of steer away from doing roles like this just because of their image, and they need a certain amount of things. This is a big thing I've heard about Chiranjeevi, especially, where his recent output's been pretty trash because he comes in and the director pitches him a story and he'll be like, I can't do this, this, and this. You got to put like a song here. You got to make me do this action scene here. And that's why his movies end up the way they are.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Not our opinion, by the way. That's just,
Whereas Dulquer seems to just go with what the director's
whatever the
is.
character is required. Yeah, it's similar. I think a lot of the newer actors are a little bit more flexible, but
if Mahesh Babu did this movie, 100% there would be 4 fight scenes, there would be 3 more songs, there would be a lot of different stuff going on. But Dulquer just went with what it is. We're just gonna get hate from everyone.
All the other actors. Ads.
But look, I think it's something that the other actors could probably learn from and say, maybe we just do the vision of what the director wants rather than what a regular movie that they've done in the past needs to be.
I think a true fan of the actor won't expect them to do certain things in a movie for them to be satisfied. Like they'll just be satisfied with a good performance from the actor. So I think maybe the actors think that fans want certain things from them. And maybe in the past they've been burnt by certain things. Because I know Chiranjeevi, he did a movie called Daddy.
A little while ago, where he has a daughter. And that movie didn't do well. And apparently since then he's never had
a son or a daughter in a movie,
Yeah.
unless it's played by him, like where he plays the older version and the younger version. But he's never done a movie where he's like a father, despite, you know.
And Mahesh Babu did do a little bit of experimentation with like One Nenokadine and like Brahmotsavam,
Yeah.
which obviously were different to what he was previously doing.
And
And
I
they-
think his last slightly experimental film was Spider.
Yes, which also didn't end up well.
Yeah.
And then since then, he's got his formula and he does that
He
formula
just does that,
in
yeah.
every movie. So obviously these guys have tried different stuff and it hasn't worked out well. But I think
Yeah.
they all should do different stuff like this because
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah, it's surprising and
And it's doing well. So it's hopefully that means,
and it's still like there's still scenes that elevate DQ. Like if you're in a cinema and you want to like have people cheer for you, there's parts of this movie that will do that still.
well, I think we've obviously deviated a bit from the topic, but I think one actor maybe from the sort of A-list that is doing different films is, regardless of the results, is probably Prabhas. Because if you look at his filmography since Bahubali, so he did Saho, then he did Radhesham, I think, and then he did Adi Purush. They're all pretty different films. And then he did Salah, which is probably what his fans want him to do. But then he did Kalki, which is a different film again. All of them have elements of elevation, I guess, and all of them weren't good. I mean, not all of them were good. Some of them were good, but at least he's trying. Whereas I feel like Mahesh Babu, all his movies are like the same, for a long time now. So yeah, we said something good about Prabhas because we usually
Do we not say good stuff about
sometimes
Prabhas?
we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people call us up on it.
Okay. No.
Vaz is average at best. No, the only thing he's doing is high budget films. That's all he does now. That's a problem.
True. Yeah, he
That's
does. Yeah.
it's the producer talking. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think this new Prabhas movie will dictate how different he wants to go.
Because that looks
Yeah.
like another
If he
different film. Anything else? Do we want to do any spoilers on this?
do you want to do some spoilers?
We can do some light spoilers.
light spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk about some of the twists that happened towards
Yeah.
the second half.
So I guess that the one twist I didn't see coming was him moving to America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
certainly came out of the blue. Because I knew at the end when they force him to sign off all of his assets to the bank again, I knew that something was like he does it.
He does it very quickly.
He does
yeah.
it too willingly.
Yeah.
And he's happy about it as well. So it's
Also, a different movie, he beats them up and just leaves.
Yes.
that would be what would happen in a different movie.
like there'd be some thugs that come in and
Yeah.
they'd beat them up and
Yeah.
But yeah, he just signs the documents, leaves, but then they find out that and that we didn't briefly mention it, but the setting of the 90s and sort of the technology that was used in the 90s is reflected really well here. So it's based in Bombay, as it was called then, or Mumbai as it's called now, and they set it up in that 90s.
And the good thing is, it's not just saying the 90s for the sake of being saying the 90s.
It actually makes sense, yeah.
For the story to work, it has to
It
be
has
said
to be,
that-
yeah,
it
because
has to be
the
said that-
technology that's present at that time actually plays an important role in the plot, especially at the end where they check his bank accounts.
Yeah.
And based on the tech that they had back then, they would only refresh the accounts every month in the system. So he
and
ends
the
up...
rest is paper-based, yeah.
That's right. So he ends up like actually withdrawing all of his accounts, but that's not reflected yet in the system. And that's what the managers use to ask him to basically withdraw his...
Blackmail him.
Yeah. But turns out he's already taken out all of his money a couple of days ago, and then he transfers it all to the US, and then he moves there to start a new business.
Is the main guy based on someone? Not DQ.
Yes, the other one is.
The guy.
The big bull guy.
The
yes.
big bull. Yeah. Is he
Yeah.
based on a real guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they never show his face.
Yeah.
And I assumed at some point they would show his face. But because they didn't, I'm guessing it's a real person.
Yeah, I think they may have changed his name. You can correct us if you know more about it, but it is based on an actual scam.
Yeah, that was a good twist. The other twist, I guess, is that the CBI is working for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was, I guess it was a twist. I don't think it added as much as some of the other twists. Yeah. And then there was this whole background of it. I love the part where he goes, there's a bit of commentary on like society and how they perceive people with money.
Yeah.
And there's a part where
That's a good scene. Yeah. It's such an Indian thing, that scene.
yeah, so like it's his sister's wedding.
Yeah.
And they're doing wedding shopping and he goes into a store and I think the people that work in the store, they kind of profile him because based on like the clothes he's wearing and the car he drives in with and the watch he's wearing and all that stuff, they're like, oh, this guy's not going to spend that much. I think it was the jewelry store that they go to. Yeah. They're like, oh, just show them like the cheaper stuff because they're not going to be able to afford it. And then they don't take checks. So I think they were about to pay and they're like, oh, we don't take check. We only take cash. So it's like, oh, okay, we'll go and withdraw cash. And then as he comes back, he changes his mind about everything and is like, I'm just going to buy the whole store. And then they go like clothes shopping and they're like, we want the most exclusive saris. And I think he spends like...
So he spends like 63 lakhs, but
in one
basically
day, yeah.
he goes and gets a new car. He
buys a new car and then he drives
then he drives in and gets a new watch. He gets new clothes and
then he goes back to the jewelry store.
Comes back to the jewelry store and then the change in demeanor from the staff and everything.
And then they change their mind about the checks thing as well. They're like, oh, actually we do checks.
And I think he asks for water and they say he has to go to the front to get water. But when he comes back the second time, they give him juice and for free. Yeah. And so like, it's I think he says a dialogue like, in India, it doesn't matter how rich you are. It only matters how rich you look. So you have to look rich to get respect. Otherwise, you don't get respect.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I thought that was some good social commentary. And I think it's still valid in some cases as well, especially in India. No, that was, I like that whole sequence. It was really well done.
No, I think it was just a generally good movie. Very, very pacey, very easy to watch, and family friendly as well. Perfect like Diwali movie to just watch with the family.
Venky Atluri, you're on our radar now, I guess. We weren't expecting much from you, but
this was my favorite movie that we watched. We watched too. This was my favorite one.
Yeah, I thought Amaran was very good, but this is probably just because it's a slightly happier film. But Amaran is also a very good film. So if you haven't watched Amaran, do watch it. So if people want to get in touch with us about their thoughts on Lucky Baskhar, how do they go about it?
So we're on all social media platforms at Paisa Vasool, or you can contact us or send us an email, at cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com, which is our other podcast.
Yes. So if you don't follow our other podcast where we review English films, Cognitive Recalibration, I'll put a link. Do follow us on that as well. And also give us a like and subscribe on this video. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We'll post reels on there. And next episode, depending on our plans, how plans pan out today, we may watch another one of the Diwali releases. If not, the next big one is Kanguva.
Yeah.
Starring Surya, coming out in a couple of weeks' time, which we will review. We actually have some events happening that particular weekend, so
it might be a bit delayed.
Might be a bit late, but we definitely will watch it and review it.
I'm going to leave you off with an anecdote. Apparently, Rajamouli offered Magadhira to Surya before Ram Charan. So that's the thing that happened. But we'll talk about it more in Kanguva.
We'll discuss that more in Kanguva, but we'll leave you with that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.